It's only the 9th of the month, but I'm actively getting prepared to go watch Scream 7 in a theater. I'm eating cream of wheat. So, I'm excited. I'm so excited. I just got a notification that says Scream 4. Hold on. Is my camera? Scream 4 is on Prime. Yeah, I got a lot of stuff on my face. I thought I washed my face, but I did not get the creases. Anyway, I got a notification saying that Scream 4 was on Prime now, which I didn't know that it wasn't. Even though I'm trying to think, I've just watched Scream on something, and I think it was like Peacock or Paramount or something. It was on Paramount. Okay, never mind. So, with Scream 4, I don't know if that's even on Paramount. But anyway, so I got that notification, and now I'm really like thinking back to that movie, because that was with Kirby in it. That's where we got introduced to Kirby. And I started thinking, okay, in one of the more recent Screams, Kirby and Sam acknowledged each other, and it was said that they knew each other from high school, which we met Kirby when she was in high school with Jill and all of them in Scream 4, and we didn't meet Sam. So how, when, what, and like, why would they mention that if that didn't even make a big, like, if that wasn't like a big thing? So it has to be a big thing. And now it makes me think about when Kirby showed Sydney Trevor in the horror movie class thing. And the two killers at the end, Charlie and Jill, they were setting Trevor up to begin with to be the killer. And somehow Kirby did the same thing. So I think she was in on it. But I think she was in on it in a way where one of the two main killers, Jill or what's his name? I don't know. They didn't know. I don't know. I'm trying to wrap my head around it because I think it's suspicious. It's suspicious. So I'm thinking about it. So, excuse me. Not only do I think Gail has something to do with why all of the killings have happened in between time, I don't think every single killer has been related. I think the Roman and Billy and Kirby situation is connected. I don't think Jill and all of them and who else was the killer? Scream 2 was Billy's mom. I don't think she was in on like the biggest big of it. I don't think Roman helped her with that. I think she just did that on her own. But I do think that from the beginning there was like a bigger plot, because I still don't understand why Casey was killed and her boyfriend. And that puts me back into the mindset of, okay, Tatum was acting suspicious in the first movie where I felt like she had something to do with it. She might have knew something. I feel like, because Rose has been, Rose McGowan, she has been commenting on a lot of the Scream stuff. I think that she's coming back, and they haven't put her on any of the promo because we would know the plot if they did. But I think she's coming back, and she's going to be like the surprise, like, mastermind killer behind everything. And her thing was like avenging Billy and Stu. I think she was the one that had Sam and Tara. I think she's the mom. And she just has like some kind of like, we all know Rose look a tiny bit different, you know? So I think she had some kind of like surgeries to make herself look a little different. And she's actually, what's her name? Christina Carpenter. Yeah. Because if we thinking about it, Sam's dad being Billy, who was around in that movie where we could go back? So putting Kirby as somebody that knew Sam in the same timeline as Jill and Kirby back in high school, we didn't see that, but they made that like a thing. But I don't understand why, because wouldn't that have been around the time where she was just finding out, or had just found out about her dad being Billy? So I'm sure she would have confided in somebody. And her and Kirby having this thing that I just feel like is that. I feel like that's the connection. And then, I don't know though, because they didn't do too much with the whole Tiger Lily and not Jill, Judy Hicks and Sydney. Because she had mentioned, oh, I knew you in high school. You don't remember me type stuff. And that was like a, she's the killer kind of thing. But no. So, I feel like that Sydney and her daughter and kids and their friends are going to be targeted by Tatum and Kirby. I think they all have something to do with it. I really do. Even though they haven't even put Kirby as like on the press release. They haven't even did anything with her actually. Which is weird too. I don't know. What did they do with this movie? I'm excited to watch it though regardless. I'm really excited to watch it. I think the trailer looks really good. But I just want it to make sense. And for me, Gail being a part of something big makes way too much sense. Them tying up the loose ends between why Sam and Kirby would even know each other or say they knew each other or whatever, that makes sense to tie that up. And then I also think that Gail is part of the big mastermind thing because Gail was obsessed with Cotton in the beginning of the movies. And she was so sure that Cotton was not the killer and that Sydney and her mom had did something crazy and framed him and she was having an affair. And I think Cotton and Gail must have been a thing. And that's why she felt so deeply and passionate about it. And she found out that Cotton was cheating on her with Maureen, who was married. And so, like, her detective skills and everything, she probably is the one that tipped off Roman to begin with. I feel like, because he had that little home movie. I just don't feel like he is the detective type of person. Yeah, baby. That's what I'm saying. So I think it's going to tie back to Maureen. It has to tie back to Maureen because that's what started it in the beginning. It has to tie. I feel like we need to know more about Casey and Steve. I feel like that still, like, doesn't make sense. Because nobody else in the school that wasn't connected to Sydney died in a way like that. So it just don't make sense. And if Stu was in love with Sydney and he's dating Tatum at the time, why would he even care about his ex-girlfriend? Like, it just does not make sense at all. But yeah, I just feel like for my theories for Scream 7 is that they are going to tie up a whole bunch of loose ends to the whole entire series that don't make sense anymore. So yeah, I hope they do. But yeah. Oh, and then those cheerleaders in the bathroom, if Tatum doesn't actually come back and is alive, which I think it has to be, because who could say, oh, I knew you since we were kids or since we were in high school, and then be in a psych ward drawing and stuff. Even though I don't know, because I don't think anybody in the first one was drawing. I'm going to have to watch the first one to go see if Tatum had like a notebook that she was drawing in or something like that. I feel like we got to figure out who this is in the psych ward. But who it is in the psych ward, I feel like, is that the person who's behind it too? Because I don't know. If she already figuring it out, I feel like I don't think it's Stu. I really don't think it's Stu. But it would make sense to be Tatum. And again, like I said, Rose McGowan has been commenting and interacting with a whole bunch of the Scream stuff. So I think that's like a foreshadow. They couldn't put her on there. Thank you, Matt. I don't think they could have put her on there as like the big Scream thing, because then we would figure it out. Like, why would she be back on there? But yeah, because she even said some weird, crazy stuff about Sydney's mom. She kept on making like little comments that was like, I'm not your friend for real. Somebody on TikTok told me, oh, they think that she had a twin sister. They think Tatum had a twin sister, which I don't think how the first one could have not told us that in the beginning if she did. So I don't think that's true. But they were like, oh, she had a set of twin beds in her room when Sydney was spending the night. So, like, why would she have two beds in her room? Which, that's valid. That's a valid question and thing to think about. I'm not going to lie. But I feel like, why wouldn't they have said that if that's the case? I feel like that's too far-fetched. Even though I guess they could go far-fetched. It's a movie. But I just want it to make sense, because I don't want it to end and I have a whole bunch of questions. And then we're like, oh, Scream 8. Which I'm not going to be mad if they make a Scream 8, but I don't want to wait until a Scream 8 to get some more answers to the beginning of all of this. I feel like 7 movies to wrap up the first movie and the first like timeline, all that kind of stuff that's enough. That's probably way too much. But yeah. Anyway, that's my theory on Scream 7. Well, theories, because there's many of those. So, bye.